You'll hear people when they're talking about XML, especially when they're talking about HTML, talk about DTDs, document type definitions. So let me give you a brief overview of what a DTD is and what it means to us. A DTD is really another form of a schema. It's an older form of the schema, and when HTML was first invented, they invented DTDs in order to define the structure of the HTML document. Interestingly, they chose to use a different syntax. They didn't use HTML to define HTML, the way that we've talked about schemas being XML files defining other XML files. They used a different syntax, and it's kind of an arcane syntax, and it's a little hard to get your hands around, and it's very compact, and it uses lots of symbols like stars and question marks and that sort of thing, and so it takes a little while to learn. It also is targeted specifically at text documents, at files that would be read more than as data. And I think that's really where schemas came into the picture. When we started to use XML as a way of transferring data from one database to another, people realized that they needed a lot more and a lot stronger data typing. So data typing was added, and instead of adding that to the DTD, it was added to a new construct called a schema. So schemas have, I hesitate to say replaced, because I know a lot of people who still swear by the DTD and use them exclusively. Let's just say it's come side by side with DTDs as the way of creating rules that regulate the structure of an XML file. So you can choose to use DTDs, you can choose to use schemas. We're going to choose to use schemas. And in fact, I believe that having the schema constructed in XML rather than having it constructed in a different syntax is a strength of schemas, because once you've learned the rules of XML, you can immediately look at a schema and start to decode it without any other knowledge of any other kind of syntax. So DTDs are older forms of schemas. We won't be using them in this class, but I'd like you to know that they exist. I'd like you to know that people use them. I'd like you to know that they're an earlier form, and I'd like you to know that they're biggest among the people who are focused mostly on text documents.